Now, Meghan has also announced a new project this week, another podcast. What is she embarking on, and how is it different from what she's done before?
So we know that Meghan's podcast with Spotify, their $20 million contract was cancelled after one season of Archetypes, apparently because it didn't meet certain production standards. But I'm also suspecting that Spotify were cognizant of the fact that her star had sort of waned a little bit. Now she's signed with a new deal with Lemonada, which produces, which is a female-owned company, which produces the podcast of the likes of Sarah Silverman. She's very excited about this. She clearly wants to kind of go down the podcast route. But again, you do have to question whether this will be a success, at least as they're hoping for, what even their definition of success is. Meghan's podcast didn't particularly get rave reviews, and it's quite strange because if you think about it, she's like the darling of Western feminism. But there were actually many critics that criticized her podcast and her attitude towards feminism, and said it was mainly centered on herself and her own experiences and how she felt good doing what she was doing, and it wasn't actually linked to the plight of women, certainly in the West, but not around the world either. So you have to wonder kind of what her angle is. I always suspected that, you know, her leaving the royal family was probably for the best because she now has the freedom to explore these sorts of things. But whether it'll be a success is different. I think it's actually quite telling that Spotify cancelled the whole deal with her. I mean, if you can't really sell yourself, which is effectively your only unique selling point, what really do you have to sell? I mean, they're moving into production and trying to create content, but you know, as anyone will tell you, Hollywood and the business of content creation is a brutal game. They're not going to have the same kid gloves that they had really in the royal family, where they have this machine of the firm that can massage their public image. Anything they put out will be scrutinized. Anything they do will be scrutinized, and they don't have that cushion of the royal family to fall back on. And I suspect it's going to be the same with this podcast.
And finally, King Charles, he'll obviously won't be undertaking official duties for some time. He's undertaking treatment. Princess Catherine is also still recovering from her surgery. Now, Prince William, he's taken some time out to spend with Catherine as she recovers, but he's getting back to work. Now, we understand that these conversations around William returning to work have already taken place. Is that right?
Yes. So, Prince William has made it very clear that he will still be working, and he'll be taking on some of the duties that his father can no longer undertake as he's recovering from cancer, and his wife is also recovering from her abdominal surgery. Queen Camilla has taken on a lot of roles as well. She's been out and about, very active, very in a very cheerful mood. So Prince William will obviously resume actually his duties quite shortly. He'll be attending the BAFTA soon, the BAFTA award ceremony. So, you know, he has made it clear that he's not going to slow down, and he can't really. There's not really a lot of legroom for him to be out of action, unfortunately. He now has to juggle taking care of his recovering wife, his 3 young children, taking on some duties from his father, and supporting Queen